out this evening, is supposed to present it back when the shooting occurred, and nothing was ever said until today. And I'd like to know, before we vote on it, you know, it's going to cost us a lot of money. What are we doing here, giving approval for all this at this time? So I just asking these questions to you.
Okay. Dan, you want to answer that, or you want me to answer either one? Go ahead.
Well, I think the reality of it is we're waiting for the sheriff to come back. The proposal that's in front of you is numbers that were developed by his staff, talking with different people at the state level. We are now trying to get down to some better cost on it. The reality is, we talked about it since we proposed to build a jail, it was going to be in the millions. Our cost was originally $25 million for a local jail, and the state was only going to give us about $6 million of that 25. If we went into a regional facility, we're going to be talking about a $65 to $68 million construction cost, and it would have still been costing the county in excess of $10 million because of our size. What the diversion center came up with is at the beginning of the year, January, became that it was going to be available because they were closing. So we sought by resolution of the board simply to see what we could do about having it be given to the county. And we've been projecting that cost through the General Assembly, through the House, through the governor's office in order to get it done. The actual cost for us doing anything, we're nowhere near doing anything yet, but I think the sheriff still needs to actually have some time to do this presentation and talk with the board and the finance committee separately. The actual list that we have now, we don't own the land, it hasn't been transferred yet, but this is a memorandum of understanding that would allow the sheriff to come in and house material in the facility and current material that's in that facility. If we take it over right now, we will receive the beds and the material that are in there. Otherwise, when the state goes to surplus it, they'll pull all that stuff out. So this memorandum of understanding is to help us try to save some cost of material that's currently there, and to be able to go in and out of the building to propose the required study that needs to be done. We've actually had our zoning administrator and building inspector over there today again to go over it with them. There's some things they do have to do to bring it even up to standard. It's going to be a long time before there's going to be some occupancy of this building. And right now, the biggest cost in the proposal that's in front of you is almost $4.5 million of state funding that's going to be staffing that is nowhere near approval yet. They may have to go into the next General Assembly or the next year to be able to get staffing for the facility. But to build it and get it prepared for that, we haven't gotten into any cost yet of what we're going to be doing, but it certainly would be beneficial to sit down with the sheriff now and go through some dollars and cents of it. The motion we have now, memorandum of understanding, just allows us to start going on the property before they start clearing it out.
Okay, I still have another question. Okay.
Yes, sir, you got the point.
Is the state going to fund 2 jails? Because are we going to
Well,
vacate
actually,
the one we have?
the answer to that would be yes, because the intent of it is not 2. This would still be part of the Pennsylvania County Jail, operated under the sheriff's office, the same system. It's not a separate system. It's not a regional system. It's just an annex to his building. All of the jails around us currently have annexes built behind them. Most of them are prefab buildings or aluminum buildings or something they had to do to house prisoners. We actually have a camp, which security-wise meets the criteria of just being an annex to a county facility. And being that it's in the same area as the town of Chatham, you're not having to drive 15 or 20 miles or more to it. Some counties have annexes where their farms are, actually some of them are in other counties. Henry County has prisoners in Chesterfield.
Okay, and then if the state decides they're not going to fund this project because we're stuck with the building, then the county comes up with the money. Is that correct?
Well, I don't think that'd be correct. I can't answer that till we decide we're going to do something. Right now, what we're trying to do is the best available move for a facility that may get surplused and auctioned off to some other facility that we needed the opportunity to get, just so we can find out. You can still always say, we're not going to fund it, sell it. That's the stuff I can't make that decision. But right now, the only decision we're trying to make is get control of the property of just the building so that we can propose to do something to help alleviate the current problem we have.
Well, if we take control of the building, are we obligated for maintenance costs on that building until we get the state funding?
I think, well, I think the answer to that would be no. If they turn the building over to you, it's your building. The question is, just like the buildings we currently own, are we obligated to maintain them? I'm gonna say the answer to that's probably no. We got a lot of empty buildings. We're just not doing what we would probably need to do to maintain them.
Is the state gonna give us some type of strings attached to the gift to the county? Is there strings attached to this?
Not to my knowledge. They're talking about surplusing the property fee simple, which means you inherit the property.
As is?
Yeah.
So we could sell it, do whatever we want with it once we get it.
Well, we'll have to see what their final paperwork is on it.
So there is stipulations.
That I don't know. I don't have any final paperwork on the deed. If the state, normally when they transfer all of these facilities, and I've run through 3 of them, they transfer them to the entity they're giving them to on fee simple title. That takes them off of their books and puts them on the burden of the book. They may ask for the ability to be the first repurchaser if you sell it.
I have one more question then. Once we start occupying, as far as putting stuff in the building, is Howard Schwartz going to take over protecting personnel going in and out of the building and materials in the building? Or how are we operating in that?
Well, now you're answering questions for the sheriff's department. That building is going to be a secure facility and it's going to be locked. The reality is you probably won't be able to get in and out of it unless you're escorted by somebody from the sheriff's office.
So only the sheriff's people will be allowed in
That's
the building,
right.
no county employees in it at all?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Well, in other words, somebody from
Building and
administration's
grounds?
office, buildings and grounds going into that building.
My answer to that would be yes, they will, because
So will
they are the maintenance facility for anything we do in the county, like in the jail now.
Well, they need to be covered then, right? As far as insurance goes, or
They already are.
They are covered under the county, but are we putting a policy on the building?
As soon as it comes into our title and name, the answer is yes.
But when you sign this agreement, we haven't taken possession of the building. Is that correct?
Well, the answer to that would be yes, that we have not taken,
So how can we insure it if we don't have possession of the building?
I have no problem with that. It's easy
Okay.
to do. We add ourselves
I'm
on,
just asking these questions.
we would go to VACO or VML and put ourselves on as additionally insured with the amount of facilities of what we have there. And I don't have a cost on it right now, but there's gonna be a cost to change the policy. Because we change it all during the year by adding and subtracting vehicles from sheriff's office, I can't tell you, it may even be no cost. It depends on what negatives and positives are added to our insurance policy during the year.
That'll come out of the sheriff's budget, not the county budget.
Well, again, a question I haven't really addressed, but I'm sure that we can work that out with the sheriff, yes.
Okay. That's it. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Davis.
You know, it's probably a year or more ago that we set out to explore ways to reduce the jail population by looking at home confinement, by looking at
Pre-trial,
pre-trial,
diversion.
yeah, ways to
We've actually done
cut
that.
bonds. But how much of that have we done? How many home confinement have we got?
No, actually,
We haven't had a report from you or from anybody in a year. And the way I look at this thing, I see this as another way to perpetuate keeping our jails full of people who don't necessarily need to be there. People on work release, they don't need to be in jail. They need to be confined somewhere, perhaps at home. People who are serving on weekends can be diverted to other kinds of punishment. And I just look at this as a way to increase the jail population and continuously increase the jail population. And you know, until we've done everything we could to reduce the jail population we have now, I don't see any need to go with this, quite frankly.
Is that all, Mr. Davis?
That's all.
Mr. Neal?
I agree with Mr. Davis. The only bad thing about it is we have a situation in the jail now. I know many of you have been there now. I've been there on several occasions to look at. We have a devastating situation. Contrary, I don't know how long justice will be before they will let us on work release and everything else. This is a situation that we have to address right now. We're in a dangerous situation in our jails. It's a situation that this county could be sued very easy if one situation happens. I think this is really a great alternative to what we are trying to do. I think probably the Commonwealth of Virginia wants to keep ourselves Mr. Davis, but I'm afraid justice may take a little longer on freeing some of the people that we have in jail for work release, and I think we need something done right now. All I got.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, may I ask my question?
Yes.
Mr. Sneed did bring up a point, but what will be the time frame of reality of getting prisoners into that building from the minute we get the building?